We're a freelancing marketplace connecting refugee talent around the world with dignified digital work. So think of a fair trade version of a freelancing marketplace like Upwork or Fiverr, but with a responsible sourcing framework that protects rather than exploits one of the world's most marginalized community, and a team-based approach to make that happen. My story getting into this space actually began in Germany 10 years ago. I was a freelancer myself, and when there was that mass migration of Syrian refugees from Greece to Germany, I followed that same route with people documenting the realities of displacement. And that was the first time I had ever encountered what it was really like, and the individual stories rather than all of what we heard in the media. And I realized the skills, the dreams, the hopes of the individuals were exactly the same as mine, wanting to build a life of purpose with work that mattered. And when people would get to their host countries, work was often the hardest part of getting reestablished and rebuilding your life. And so I took all of this, I started researching this emergence of digital work among refugees, but found that there were so many invisible barriers that exist. And when I transitioned into working in tech at a Fortune 5 company, I found myself managing the very types of projects that refugees struggle to access, and realized that these were two sides of the same coin. There was a market failure in excluding and overlooking incredible untapped potential of displaced talent around the world. And yet there was a role for business to play, not just governments and philanthropy. And so 2 years ago, I left a comfortable corporate job to start EqualReach because I believed that we could build something better, and all that was needed was a bridge to connect these worlds.
That's brilliant as a concept, but bring it to life for me. Give me an example.
Sure. So our very first project that we did with EqualReach was for a startup in London. It was creating their first revenue-generating part of their business with a small tech team out of Kenya, Uganda, and Ethiopia. And one of the developers on that project, her name is Susan, she grew up in Kakuma refugee camp in Kenya. She grew up there for 20 years of her life. She had done an MIT software development micro-master's program. She had the skills. She loved game development. She was brilliant. And yet, she was just seen as a beneficiary, someone in need of a handout. And yet, when we got this project for her, it was a $10,000 project for this team. She hopped on the first call, and the client was speaking to her as the expert in the room. He was saying, "You tell me what to do. You're the one that has the knowledge. What do we need to build?" And just the power dynamic shift of all of a sudden, she had a new identity. She was seen for her skills, not just for her circumstance, which honestly was the least interesting thing about her. She then used that money, and having worked then for the next year of contracts that we were able to connect her with because the quality of her work was so good, to then create her own company where she teaches game developers within Kakuma refugee camp how to code and develop. And so she is now a job creator herself with the income that started just as a freelancing project.